man.
Pretty darn quick. It is, of course, MLP Dota and John X Fire. John, game number 1 was a pretty interesting one, going past the 70-minute mark. And really just ripping apart the side of Boom ID, forcing them to die without buybacks, and stealing game number 1. Game number 2, I'd like to ask you, if there's anything, what did Boom ID need to do differently this time around?
Oh boy, the main thing I want to say is try to keep that throwing arm in check. They had a massive lead in game number 1, right?
Yep.
They had this insanely huge lead. They had mega creeps up and running for themselves. They had pretty much control in that game. Yep. And it took one bad fight outside their base. It took them getting a bit overconfident in that engagement. And it cost them. Just like that, TNC turns it on its head. You can't give TNC moments like that. You can't give these guys an opening. No matter how far behind they are, it's TNC. Now, at the end of the day, despite their struggles so far with the season, this is a team that goes down fighting. So you can't afford to give a swing like that away for Boom ID. I'd say if there's anything that I want to see them kind of polish up, perhaps their early to mid game could have been a bit cleaner as well. I think that was one of their low points in the last match. It took them a while until they were confident enough to force an advantage out. Despite them having stronger team fight earlier on, TNC, they got a bit of space there in that mid game. They kept it fairly even, which caused the game to really go late for Boom ID. So perhaps try to clean up that early game if they're going for an aggressive draft, try to maximize that draft, and really just be more consistent. I think that's the one thing Boom ID has always lacked, that consistency to close out games. It's not there, and I'd like to see them do better.
More importantly, John, I mean, once again, Dota Plus was correct. I mean, I questioned Dota Plus for the 50th time. You know, this is a service that we pay for, John. And Valve does not stop. They just deliver the prime service of Dota Plus. Thank you very much, Valve. Whew, thank God I pay for this service. How much shards do I have? I think I have 200,000 shards that I haven't spent. We need more cosmetics, Valve. Anyway, Boom ID, TNC, Predator. Draft has started, John. Unsurprisingly, TNC pick up the Snapfire as their first pick and go into the OD pickup, and Boom ID go to the Oracle Troll Warlord combination, which is quite deadly to say the least.
It's interesting to me that the picks ended up this way. A really early troll from Boom, and we have seen the troll versus OD matchup before in very different patches going throughout the years. It's a classical matchup, I think, that a lot of teams want to force out. The OD is
remaining.
One more ban for them. By the way, John, while we're waiting for that ban, I mean, we are officially the Dota 2 mukbang casters. So, what did you eat today, sir?
Not much, unfortunately. You know, you wake up, you only find out the night before when you're gonna go to work, of course. So you wake up, you have laundry to, you know, it's a busy day. You're forced to do certain chores by family. I only had time for instant noodles, as is life. You know, sometimes you're just forced to eat instant noodles. It's not bad. It's great. I do love it. It's not good for you, but it is enjoyable. Of course, it's the Filipino. I used to love Indomie when I was in Singapore, but now that I'm back home, I go back to what I love. Pancit Canton. Lucky me, it's Filipino noodles.
5 seconds remaining.
It's just a nice mild flavor. It's very homey. I think it's the word for it.
Well, to all the Indonesians out there, don't worry. I'm still eating Indomie at home, so please don't be offended by John's lack of culture, I would say.
You see the tiny pickup. The tiny pickup for Boom ID. Yeah,
it's a nice pick, right?
It is. You've got flexibility here now as well. You can still run that tiny safe lane if you want, to troll down mid. Of course, you can also just run it as support with the Oracle. And it's potent in either case. You have some leeway to figure out what you want to get done there. It's really strong, lots of burst, good control. You can help the troll get out or get into a fight quite well. And I think it really ties in what you want with that duel with the Oracle and Troll. So for TNC, they go for the Abaddon themselves. Now, this is a hero that's been consistently popping up for a very long time now. Not hard to see why. It just gives you a lot in that laning phase. It's a very annoying hero to deal with. And again, you also have a bit of flexibility with where to throw it nowadays. So you have that going for TNC. You could see KP play it, or we could see it run in that more sacrificial pause 5, although with a Snapfire, I would want something that would, you know, eat a bit less space, just be less reliant on gold. So the Abaddon should probably be the offlaner here. We have seen KP play that a lot before. Wouldn't be too surprised.
Fun fact, I believe the hero concept of Snapfire was actually made after my own grandmother, John, who consistently fed me as a child, even though I told her not to. Just kept throwing cookies at me. If I said no to her, she'd obviously take out the gun and force to eat those cookies. Hence my my obesity problem, John. It's not my fault. I don't eat too much. Too many cookies is the problem. As Pangolier will come out for Boom ID. The Pango was fairly strong last game. Of course, KP was showing off a bit of Australian culture in the last game. And you could argue, John, that was the game-saving play for TNC. Like, it probably gave Tim's a lot of oomph in his step. It probably motivated him to get that Divine Rapier as an Australian.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, they did win that fight after the burnout. They did win that trade. So it did pay off.
You can't see when a burnout's going on, John. Boom ID had no chance. TNC Predator, though. 4th pick for them.
I mean, you've got a pretty clear picture of where Boom ID wants to be now. With that Pangolier, of course, the Tiny's more than likely going to be a support. And you do see the Timbersaw coming out here. Really good way to punish both the Pangolier and the Troll Warlord. You know, Strength cores are very easy to burn down with that Timbersaw. I like this combination with the OD as well. And the Abaddon, so you've got these great frontliners so far. You don't really have the best of burst from Boom. I guess Tiny is pretty good burst if you can get the jump in with these heroes. It does taper off quite hard, I think, as the game goes on. The only one you can really consistently kill off will be Snapfire eventually. So you've got to watch out for that timing from Boom. TNC, it's looking pretty good so far. The one thing I am concerned about is control. Again, they are relying mainly on Snapfire to keep someone locked in place right now. You have that you have the imprisonment from the OD as well, I suppose. But their team fight is not as well knit together as it was in game 1. Boom ID looking like they have a bit of a better grasp there, at least in terms of control. I mean, you have to watch out for that Snapfire. We saw that Snapfire do a lot of damage in these team fights if you don't keep it in check.
Oh, absolutely. It's a very, very dangerous hero to leave alone. Though I guess that's why the Tiny's there, right? Like, you can always just toss in the Snapfire, or at least cancel the channel. And that way, she's really not as effective. Because once she's in the middle of the team fight, she's very, very weak. Very susceptible to just dying. But you've got to get past the front line first, and going up against Timbersaw is never easy in a team. Fine. Still TNC. One more ban for them. We saw Boom ID. They don't want to have to play against that combination of the Void with the OD and the Snapfire. So they get rid of that. TNC. What is there coming out, I wonder? Boom hasn't revealed a mid lane yet. Unless they're going to put the Pango mid, but it's very unlikely. They'll probably put it in the off lane. So you'd assume that we've got one mid ban coming out now.
I mean, it ought to be, unless TNC's expecting to troll mid for whatever reason. I think that's more likely than the Pango.
I mean, it could happen. Troll is a pretty decent mid. It's very hard to last hit against him, I suppose. Just because you can demise so easily, though. They get rid of the Monkey King. Okay, fair enough. I guess it's not too bad. Monkey King doesn't mind being up against the Timber. Get that free Jingu Mastery going and then just kill the rest of them. Leave the Timber alone. Let's see, how do you finish this off? Because they do need a safe laner. They don't have that Troll option. They don't have the Void option.
10 seconds remaining.
We've got the PL, we've got the Slark, which has been very popular. Alright, they'll go to the Bloodseeker, and I guess that's also fair enough, right? Up against the Pango, up against the Troll, they like to run around. The Rupture is not going to be a great time for either of these.
Yeah, definitely not. I like this pick from TNC to tie up their draft. I think it's playing into this earlier timing coming out from them. Boom ID, though, with that last pick Silencer, could toss this one up in the air. I mean, that damage coming out early on from that Silencer is going to be annoying to deal with. So you've got to watch out for it now. Mikado is going to be playing that. And it's going to be interesting to see that matchup. Of course, I think overall, in terms of how the draft shaped up, it's a bit harder for me to give an advantage here. Last time I gave Boom an advantage because of how they scaled towards late, and they were scaling nicely. This time around, their lineup is definitely geared for a bit more of a mid-game sort of tempo, but TNC's draft is really good at counteracting that by their earlier durability this time around. I think I might have to give the edge just to TNC in terms of raw draft. I don't see any way you're going to be bursting down the Timbersaw past 15. I don't see any way you're bursting down the Abaddon for sure past 15 as well, just by nature of these heroes. And you're playing into a bit of a disadvantage with that Timbersaw not being burstable, that super burstable with what you have so far, unless you throw so many heroes to take KP out. So I think TNC's draft is definitely much more cohesive this time around, and I'd expect them to execute this one a bit cleaner.
I mean, I tend to agree with you on this. In fact, I think TNC just won out really hard. Like, they've got these great combinations on Boom ID, right? You can keep the Troll alive for so darn long, but at the same time, I mean, with this, I just don't understand the last pick Silencer here. Great, but it just seems like he's going to be very susceptible in these team fights, especially that Bloodseeker who's just going to run up on him with the Rupture and just take him out. Does get him in Boom ID. Nevertheless, we'll see how it all pans out, as we are going to go in game number 2, best of 3. Of course, straight after this, John, I believe it's going to... Well, I know we're casting Team Iron, and they are going to be up against Reality Rift, so that should be another pretty interesting matchup straight after this series. Of course, losers of both series will go down to the lower bracket. They won't be automatically kicked out of the qualifier, so there will still be a chance for them to get to those grand finals of this closed qualifier and try to make their way to the minor. Nevertheless, we'll cast this for now. So we'll have to keep a very close eye on Dreamer Cell, see how fast he can get that farm up on the Troll. It is going to be very important for him to get that farm up, though TNC kind of indicating they may try lane this.
I think they just really want these runes so far. I think a tri-lane goes against what TNC actually wants. They need EXP on all of their heroes to really get their timing right. So they're just trying to secure these outposts as they did last time around. Do trade earlier on for it. They do catch out the Tiny.
No, gonna follow up with the Silence. Hyde can't get out of it in time. He'll cop the damage. Hyde gonna be forced to use a bit of regen already. Gabby gonna take his outpost back, though FBZ gonna try and harass him a bit. Gabby gonna be okay. Not really much threat of him dying here. TNC are going to secure both bot bounties, and Boom ID will get both top bounties, so an even trade between the two.
Here comes the violence!
And it does look like Tim's is going to make his way back up to the top lane. So you are correct, John. They are going to run those dual lanes. They definitely prioritize that XP over anything else. And I suppose that is the correct decision here from TNC.
Yeah, there is something going on here, though. Armel is playing mid Bloodseeker up against that Silencer from Kato, so... I mean, it's not bad per se, but I do believe the Silencer is going to be enjoying that added advantage early on. As the game picks up, Armel can kind of keep pace, as long as he can get his last hits down.
BZ already loses quite a lot of HP up at that top lane. Tim's being very frustrating with that Scatter Blast. Of course, we do see Hyde immediately pulling the creep wave back towards zone T1. In fact, he may go for a double, though no. Just a single pull for now. Tim's going to be there to disrupt this. In fact, he's going to try and get the neutrals going towards that creep wave, and yeah, he grabs it. Perfectly played by Tims. He will not allow the pull away. With that, I mean, you can always bring the troll in to just, or rather the Timber or the OT to come in and just farm up that creep wave. At the very least, it is going to force the push in from the creep wave, so they will not have creep equilibrium on the side of Boom ID up at this top lane.
Yeah, and that's going to be a pretty nice win here for TNC as long as they manage to sap as much XP as possible. Once you get early levels into Snapfire, it's just really hard to play against. Of course, Boom will not let that go without a fight.
March going to find himself Kescute's Courier. Of course, March did go for the early Brown Boots build, so he can run these Couriers down very easily once he's spotted them out. Abaddon is just a very, very fast hero to begin with anyway. It looks like he'll even start stacking up some Ancient Camps for his team. So top lane, Tim's falling very low to FBZ. Swashbuckle is available, and well, Gabby, he'll commit the Astral, though Tim's may still be dead here. Cookie is available, and it will be dodged FBZ. Nice Swashbuckle out. Won't quite get the kill on Tim's, but won't die himself, which is much more important to the side of Boom ID.
Yeah, and again, it's just aggressive posturing from both sides here at the top lane, but so far the farm has been trading fairly evenly overall. Like, Gabby's pretty much matched up with Dreamosel down bot, so both teams are still somewhat finding what they want, despite how back and forth it's been going.
Going to KP now. Timber going to be perfectly fine. He does have the 6 reactive armor stats. No real threat of dying for him, although mid lane, excuse me for missing that Armel, double damage on the Bloodseeker does find the kill. Of course, he did have level 1 Thirst at the time, which makes it a lot easier. Now top lane, Hyde will go down to Gabby on the OD.
Yeah, these early pickoffs are going to be setting the pace for TNC at the very least. That's something you have to watch out for. Your HP levels on the side lanes make this mid lane much harder to play with for Mikado. Of course, now that he gets a bit of a reset, does have more mana to play with, can twack Armel a few more times, and it does hurt copping that orb walking from a Silencer.
It certainly does. Considering he steals in every time he hits you as well, it hurts more and more as time goes on. Hyde, maybe try and steal the outpost again. But no, he'll leave it. Already got it, in fact. He doesn't even need to be there. He just supposed to be safe. Armel, be the target of a gank attempt. Does cop a lot of damage once again from Makoto. The March will be there to help him out. Gives him an aphotic shield as well as a miscoil. Hyde, he's still sticking around that river. Still wants to try and make this rotation happen. But while March is there, it's basically impossible to get this Bloodseeker kill.
Definitely is. It's just a bit of time wasted here from Boom. I think they should really focus on trying to win their side lanes a bit more rather than working out this mid lane matchup. You are forcing March to stay there anyway for the most part, and he is just walking between lanes, healing people up. That's it. That's a bit of an opening. You can't abuse his Boom.
On the bright side for Boom ID, Dreamer Soul is at the top of the last hits board, so the Troll is farming very, very well right now, and KP can't really do much to shut him down. The thing is with KP, though, he's happy to just trade farm as the Timber. I mean, they never really chose the Timber to try and shut down the Troll in lane anyway. The top lane, FBZ does fall very low again on the Pango, but Gabby didn't have any more spells to throw out, so he leaves them be and goes back to farming on the OD. So we remain in a 0-2 though. 1k net worth is going to remain for TNC. Finally hit that 5-minute mark. Bounty runes are up, but it looks like it will be a 2-for-2 trade anyways. Imbatv and TNC both get 2 each. Things will remain fairly passive for now.
I think the one issue for Imbatv here as this game goes passive is that their side lanes are really not farming as much. Besides Dreamocell on Troll, who's getting just a bit pressured here, besides Dreamocell, the farm on every other hero is lackluster compared to the TNC counterparts. So if they're just going to keep this kind of pace, they'll slowly work themselves into a deficit unless some pressure is placed on the map.
Dreamocell cops a fair bit of damage from KP actually. Interesting to note, KP went for the level 1 chain. See, a lot of the time, these Timbers tend to go for the max Whirling Death and the max reactive armor, but this time around he does opt for level 1 chain early on, so feels it necessary to be able to chain himself out or in. KP farming this bot lane freely. Dreamocell can't shut him down. In fact, they're going to move forward. Whirling Death on Dreamocell with the Chakram now. He has to get out. The chain is going to be available, but it's not enough. The attack speed on the Timber is so darn slow, or rather the attack animation, that he couldn't get that final right click off in time.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame here. Still, the Troll is forced back. He's not going to be farming up. He's going to have to walk back to that tier 1, and this is just going to slow him down.
Tims with the cookie. There's the Scatter Blast is going to be enough. One more. Armel, who'll barely find it just in the nick of time.
Hide.
Now Hide. They don't have Rupture, but they may not need it. In fact, never mind Armel, he doesn't care. He'll go back to farming. He already found the main target he wanted. Hide's just going to stand there and think about what's just happened. Perhaps just wait for his silence to be back up and online. Maybe go for a gank attempt on Armel.
Kez cute.
Getting caught out. That's Tims for you, John. Even on a hero like Snapfire, he's just roaming around the map, making plays happen with that cookie.
Yeah, and this is rough for Boom. This is what you expect the Tiny to be doing. But Hyde has just not been able to find that opportunity to sneak himself into TNC and do his own burst damage. So he's behind in levels now in terms of progression there, tied up with his Oracle, and you don't want the Tiny falling too far behind in EXP. He needs to be big. He needs to get the damage up with his spells.
KP could be the target of a gank attempt now. They will purge him up, though he does still have stacks going, but Rolling Thunder is there, and it's a lot of magic damage from Imbatv. So KP, he was trying to force in that tier 2 tower. He does actually deal quite a bit of damage towards it as well. Dreamocell? He just popped Battle Trance for no reason. Is that a thing? I guess he just wants to protect that tier 2 from the siege creep.
He didn't hit the siege creep though.
I realized that.
It could have been a mispress, perhaps.
Maybe he just it's farming efficiency. That's what we'll call it.
I suppose. I mean, he's not looking to take these fights anyway at this point. You know, he needs farm as the Troll. You do see a bit of a pincer movement here, top lane TNC, sneaking behind Tims.
Yeah, but there's Hyde going after Gabby, and Gabby tossed back into that tier 1 tower. FBZ going to be there, but Tims with the cookie once again is saved, and Gabby should just be able to run up though. No swashbuckle forward. They should be able to find Gabby on this OD, but he has Astral in a second, and he's not committed. He hesitates, he cancels the animation, and now Armel comes in with the Rupture. They'll go after Kezcute, and they will be able to trade, but you don't want to trade for an Oracle with the life of your OD.
No, definitely not. A nice little pick-off for Boom that does give them a little bit more to play with, of course. That clears out the bot lane for Dreamocell to farm up as well. March is not going to be a major threat to this Troll, so you're buying some space for the pause one. Found the opposing pause one as well, and Armel.
Tims again gonna save the days. KP will run in now. They'll go after Makoto. The toss forward onto Armel. Makoto, he did not want to be tossed like that, I don't think. He does go down to the silence. Armel gets a dominating spree. Now FBZ gonna get chased down Tims. He doesn't have mana, and they'll leave it at that. Sometimes, John, that happens. You toss your teammate in, you think it's a surefire kill, and it turns out it's not, and it costs them their life.
I think they might have wanted to toss FBZ. He still had a roll there. If he got in the middle, got the roll off, that might have been a very different team fight from Boom. Still, unfortunate. You know, it happens.
It does.
And that does give TNC a bit of an edge again. We're looking at 2-6, 10 minutes in. Just a 1K net worth lead for TNC, but they are starting to clear out the map a bit. And if you give TNC the space, well, they're going to take a lot more.
Tims setting up for another kill here. Armel gonna run in with a Rupture. FBZ will manage to remain out of vision while the animation for Rupture's going on. Will avoid it. Armel quickly clearing up the stacks that Tims has made because, of course, the side of Imbatv did spot it out. A lot of neutral items being dropped. Handy for the side of TNC. Is nice little royal jelly going up to KB now, which really helps him out, especially with that mana regen sustain. Go for the Hood of Defiance now. Tank him up against all this magic damage coming up from Boom. Though you look at Tims, top lane, he's in a very peculiar situation here. I don't believe they spotted him, but Hyde is right next to him. You could probably smell him right now.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Just gonna hide in the tree line and wait. He does have the ultimate available. There's gonna be 4 heroes from the side of Imbatv up here to push out that T1, though nobody spots out Tims yet. The whirling axes hit him,
Looks like
and he still hasn't been spotted out. They don't give vision. KP, there's a scatter blast, and they're like, wait, where did that come from? Dreamer, so he goes straight after Tims. Rolling Thunder is there as well. Looks like this Snapfire is gonna die now. The global silence. March, he does have his own ultimate, so he does survive. Though Hyde will toss him back, and it looks like he is going to be a sitting duck as he does go down to Dreamer Cell. I can understand what Tims was trying to do there, John. He was setting up for the cookie stuff, but it looks like it does not pay off. In fact, Armel now mid lane tries to go after the silencer. He doesn't find the kill, and he may die to FBZ here as the shield crash and the Purifying Flames coming in with the swashbuckle. Armel's so close to dying, though not close enough. He actually juked out the avalanche. He gets out of there, though no toss. Purifying Flames, it will be there, but now Tims trying to get some kind of punishment out. It looks like he'll be the one that gets punished as FBZ is not done. He has another shield crash. March will save this Snapfire. FBZ will take an Arcane Rune. He'll say thank you very much, and he'll go home.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Bit unfortunate for TNC there, forcing these fights out in pretty awkward spots. Boom finding the openings they need and starting to rake in a couple of kills for themselves. I think the one unfortunate thing so far for Boom is that while these fights break out, Mikoto is not nearby. So he's not getting any of that permanent Agi steal, which you want to build up in the silencer still. It is fairly good to have, but it's just not happening just yet for Mikoto. Just gonna focus on farming for now.
I think you mean permanent intelligence, sir.
Yeah.
You accidentally said permanent Agi. Rupture is there from FBZ, and FBZ should be dead here. Although no, false promise, Keskut, he's going to try and protect this Pango TP out. They don't have a stun. Oh, what a play coming out from the Oracle.
And that's the one thing with this lineup. We mentioned it from draft. Their control relies on that Snapfire and the OD early on, especially. So when you don't have them around, when you expend one, you have no way of stopping these TPs, and that's going to be a consistent issue for TNC as the fights start to break out.
Well, you've got a Blink Dagger now coming out on Hyde as well, so you have this initiation now from Imbatv. In fact, they might go right now. Hyde is waiting for his Blink on the Courier, and he will grab it in just a second as it is coming. So with this Blink up now on Hyde, always got to be careful those tosses back towards those T1s. Not that the T1s hit that hard anymore for any of the side of TNC, but just the being out of position like that would be very scary for TNC, as they might find Armel here on the Bloodseeker. Hyde gonna move himself forward. No wards keeping an eye out on Armel, but they do spot him out, and now the Avalanche comes in with the toss. A lot of damage is there onto Armel with the Rolling Thunder. It does all connect, but can they save him? March is there with the Aphotic Shield. It will save the day for now as chains forward from KP. They rupture up FBZ, but again, there's no stuns, so you can just TP out. And Hyde even gives them the sorry. Thank you for that, Hyde. Very professional of you, sir. Even apologizing for the mistakes that TNC are making.
It's the draft. They just don't have a way of keeping people in place. They need something like a Yule's Up. Yeah, no, they need a Yule's Up at the very least on KP to mitigate this for now. They need a lot of stuff to stop that from happening. Of course, it's going to be a while until that farm is up and running.
KP is using
no.
the Timber though. Bot lane, a big misplay coming out from TNC, it seems, as Armel and March are out of position, and it looks like they will lose Armel, and March is not going to be too safe either. And you were talking about that permanent intelligence, John. It is starting to stack up now for Makoto.
Yeah, 4 stacks of permanent int for him, and he's going to be pretty happy with that. It's a start. Still, you managed to punish that Bloodseeker. You know, pretty aggressive positioning from them, not respecting that boom. Can really just come back into that jungle. They are pretty close by still.
KP is very out of position right now. Avalanche is going to be there from Hyde. He still has the toss. He wants to toss him back towards his own team. FBZ now as well coming in. Rolling Thunder KP. He's losing a lot of HP here. He's going to try and juke his way out though. Hyde is following. Avalanche is now available to throw out. KP, how far can you push them? Another chains. He's going to go for the TP. Makoto, do you have a stun? You don't, but it doesn't matter. Hyde setting up another beautiful kill and more intelligence to be given the way of Makoto.
Yeah, he's slowly building up 6 now on this silencer, and as long as they keep getting out this early aggression, keep finding these early pickoffs, while TNC is in a bit of a vulnerable spot with a lack of control, we start capitalizing in this one for Boom, even if they are a bit behind in terms of map control.
Well, I love how everyone on the side of Boom just tipped FBZ as if Hyde didn't toss anyone in to give vision. FBZ just gets all the credit as the Pangolier. Nevertheless, TNC now finding themselves a little bit behind. It's an 8-6 at 16.5 minutes with less than 1k net worth lead to Boom ID. But considering the draft TNC has, you generally don't want to be in this kind of position. It should really be TNC with a pretty decent lead. They've slowed it down a bit. Looks like they're going to just try and force in this bot tier 2 and perhaps just take over the Radiant side jungle.
Radiant structures are fire.
I think that's a fair way to play this one. Just play on one side of the map, try to shut down, try to get as much farm as you can, force the troll to play pretty far forward as a result, and perhaps at some point you can punish Dreamwhistle for having to farm aggressively.
Tribute to my house. Dire's top tower is under attack.
Here's Boom ID do the exact same thing. They're not really going to be able to get this tier 2, it seems, but they're trying to slowly chip away at it.
Is under attack.
They must know TNC's making their way up now, though. Surely. Hyde is going to get spotted by KP. KP will take his outpost back.
Under attack.
Tims, find anybody, sir. Not trying for it. Just going to get to farming.
FBZ.
Although FBZ, Rolling Thunder is out now. Avalanche and Toss is there. And it looks like they should be able to find Tims, though no, apparently not. He just walked out of their March. He'll get him up as well, and Hyde is dead.
Oh my.
Just way too much hesitation, it seems.
Yeah, you've got to respect the durability that TNC does have, especially when March is around to give that heal, give that shield.
Bot lane, Tim's TP straight depth.
Oh god.
Find Dreamwhistle. He has Battle Trance available though. It's not going to be the easiest kill, but then again, Gabby has Sanities available if he wants to drop it. He doesn't yet. There's the Global Silence coming out. Kezcute falls very low, but Makoto's by himself. He's trying to man-fight this, but he's in the middle of all of them. And now they go after the Oracle. KP straight on the front lines, and Kezcute is dead. I think someone has to remind Makoto he's a ranged silencer. Doesn't need to be fully ranged to hit as a silencer.
I think they were expecting a bit more backup there, but they did have their troll back off immediately. So I think it could have possibly been miscommunication right there. Although, Dreamwhistle don't want to be too far forward.
Especially considering he went the greedy build, although nice toss back on the snap by Tims should definitely be dead here, and he is. Hyde again, setting up a kill, and they'll smoke immediately now straight towards their own side. Jungle KP be a nice target, but they missed the initial swashbuckle. Hyde has the blink though, he can get another toss on. Who does he want? He wants KP but missed the avalanche. He'll go for March instead. March will pop the borrowed time, but he understands he's just gone. He'll just waste as much time as possible. Hyde again setting up a second kill within the last 30 seconds. I'm almost surprised Boom ID hasn't tipped the Pango again. Hyde gonna keep moving forward. KP gonna try and defend this, but he's gonna be surrounded though. Rupture is gonna be there on hide this time around the Tiny. Can't really do much, though he can avalanche toss. Gabby now gonna join in. The KP is still very, very healthy. He'll move forward up against Dreamercell, who still has his ultimate available. So you've always got to be careful of the sanity's drop from Gabby. And it looks like they are gonna find FBZ. If they find any more, it looks like they will find Kescube to boot. Astral will be there, and he is a sitting duck. Double kill. With that, 10 to 12. They're looking for even more. Makoto would have been a fantastic target, and Gabby, he's moving very aggressively. He wants the Astral. He does not get it. So instead, he goes back to farming, getting very close to that Hurricane Pike. As the Hurricane Pike is up, things become a lot harder for Boom ID.
Definitely. It's something to really watch out for once that timing is up. Of course, Armel has been farming pretty well in this Bloodseeker as well, all things considered. The lanes are being shoved in. Boom. They're gonna have to try to slow this one down. At the very least, they're getting space for Dreamercell.
It's a shame though, Dreamercell, he went for that that Battle Fury build, which does indicate you want to farm a lot. And well, this is kind of what happens with that kind of build. You can't really fight
Radiant's top tower is under
against a
attack.
draft like what TNC's got. Zarmel gonna push in that top tier 2. Currently doing it freely. I mean, you've got the Pango and the Tiny there, but they can't really defend this as well as they'd like to.
Radiant's top tower has fallen.
Silence is going to be there with FBZ. Now Gabby jumps in hide though with the avalanche. Snapfire ultimate being committed, and well, looks like this Pango is in big, big trouble. Kescube, he's copying a lot of damage too. They'll survive. Barely.
He just stood there? He didn't walk back to the fountain.
What?
So he didn't get enough heals on his false promise. I'm not sure about that one, but...
Fair enough. Honest mistake.
It does show you the color on top of your head, though.
Yes, it does, John. TNC, they're going to go into the Roshan. And well, without that Pango there, without the Rolling Thunder, it's very hard to contest this Roshan, but they do scan it out. The question is, can they contest it? They're close. They have Global Silence available right now, and they'll smoke up. But the problem is that smoke's going to be broken very fast by March, who's in hits on the Abaddon right now. They'll drop the Sentry, but that's not the target they want to start on. The Aegis is taken now by Gabby. There's the Cookie straight onto the Oracle. Another great play from Tims. There's the Scatter Shot to slow him down, and he is dead on the Oracle. As well as that, KP just moves forward, looking for more. Won't find anything. It won't matter though, as they're going to find another tier 2 mid tower.
And with that, TNC completely shuts the map out from Boom ID, so you're not going to have too much space to farm up now. Dreamercell is trying to maximize this last moment of freedom he has.
Another Astral off John, and they have found the Pango. Scatterblast is there. They won't follow up. They have the Sanity's Eclipse, but I haven't seen them drop it at all yet.
Yeah, it hasn't been dropped yet.
I'm shocked by that, because there's been plenty of kill opportunities that he could have just easily taken. But it seems like he doesn't need it.
It does look that way. I mean, they've still been winning these fights. They managed to clear out the entire map of objectives from Boom ID's side, so no outer towers left. Gonna be much harder to take control of their own jungle even for these fights, although they're forcing it down.
Pulls up KP, and now the Silence coming in though. Hyde does toss KP back, but he's a tanky Timbersaw. He doesn't really mind this. There's Armel now gonna move forward, and they just heal him up. KP, he's back up to full HP, and it's like nothing ever happened.
Yeah, it's the power of having this Abaddon around you, and having these tanky heroes as well, that it's hard to find that burst opportunity. You're not going to be finding that backline with the way TNC is playing. They're just playing really conservatively with Tims now. He's just standing at the back far enough to reach out to this Cookie. But beyond that, really just not giving an opening here for Boom.
Under attack.
Gabby, for an Astral opportunity, has the Aegis, so he definitely wants to get aggressive here. TNT main force in a tier 3 tower now. Looks like they are beginning to push in that creep wave in the mid lane. Don't let the side of Boom ID feel comfortable at all. Now they'll smoke up. There was no ward scouting that out though. KP, his smoke is immediately broken. FBZ knows what's going on. He'll shield crash onto the RTZ home. But unfortunately for him, Gabby does find him with the Astral, and that is a very, very dead Pangolier. In fact, there's more. Dreamer Cell gets ruptured up. There's a Snapfire ulti. If you can't run, you're going to have to sit in the fire. In fact, he pops the Battle Trance and he gets the Aegis on the OD, but he's going to get him a second time. He runs through the rupture and it will eventually expire as KP going to move forward. Chakram is there to slow him down with the silence from Armel. They'll cease to chase TNC. They've lost the Aegis. They could still try and force in a push, but they may just opt to play this safely.
Yeah, I don't reckon they're in a major rush. It's still fairly early in the game. We haven't seen them really play with all their tools up and running yet. The big one will be Gabby's BKB to counteract that silence. I think that's the one thing that's causing issues for TNC. When that global silence comes out, OD is not a hero. He does not contribute at all. So having that purge, having, you know, just magic immunity in general here is going to be very important for TNC to set the pace. And as long as they get that up and running, they should be pretty set.
Coda looks like he's going for a Shadow Blade on the silencer, so perhaps going into the Silver Edge to deal with KP. Fair enough. I mean, it's not such a bad idea.
Oh god, Dreamer Cell?
Lane, Dreamer Cell pops the Battle Trance again, no. In fact, it's not even the Battle Trance, is it? That was on cooldown.
He was caught out.
Fighting with the false promise, and Dreamer Cell still man fighting KP. He's going to try and TP out with the BKB now. Tims could not get a cookie off in time. Armel, though, he finds Kescute on the Oracle. And with that, tier 3 tower. There's 2 heroes down. Why the hell not? They don't have buybacks.
Yeah, this is probably a set of racks as well. I don't see this stopping unless the global silence comes back on, and that's going to be half a minute.
Gabby, he finds the silencer, Avalanche committed but does not connect. And with that, Makoto, he does force stuff away and use the Shadow Amulet, but they're going to lose Hyde. He's going to try and man-fight up against his team, though KP, he'll get out of there thanks to the fire that's falling out of the sky. And Gabby? What about the sanities? It's going to cost him perhaps. In fact, no, they'll protect. There's a silence once again coming out from the Bloodseeker. FBZ, Astral, straight off the bat, so he's going to move his way in. Once again, he has the Oracle behind him. He wants to take a team fight and at least punish the side of TNC. He pops the Battle Trance, there's the global silence, but it means nothing. They'll go after KP instead on the Timber. He's still a tanky target. There's the cookie coming up March. Can he save KP? He cannot. They will find a massive kill. Though Armel, they'll chase him down next, but he BKBs, he TPs out. Can they get a root off? They cannot.
Under attack.
So Armel would at least make it out. They find a nice kill in the form of KP, but they lose their top racks.
That's a lot to lose out on. Having that one wave constantly shoved in is going to be big for TNC. They already have control of the map. This just makes it harder for Boom to find any opening. They've always got to be aware of that top lane now, and understanding that they can't allow it to shove too far in, otherwise the tier 4s are going to be scratched.
Hyde, gonna go for TP, but Gabby's there with the Astral. No TP for you, sir. Hyde will accept his death. Armel's got a bash up anyway now, so the odds are they won't be able to TP like that any longer.
Dire's top tower has fallen.
Another Astral, they found the Oracle. Kescute, yeah, he has to commit the false promise to survive this. We'll just back out. By the way, 28.5 minutes in, John. We're still yet to see that Sanities as well. There's an Astral coming out. We see it now. Rolling Thunder, Gabby just gonna walk away. He's not too scared by this. Here comes Armel looking for the backlines as well. There's a Snapfire ultimate. Kescute, he is dead immediately. Dreamer Cell gonna continue trying to fight, but they don't have False Promise available. Even if they do buy back on that Oracle, Dreamer Cell now pops the Battle Trance with the BKB. Armel getting stunned up with that Basher. They'll get one massive kill. Can they find more though? KP, he gets bashed up and rooted. Dreamer Cell, he really wants this, and they'll get the root immediately. I thought that was going to be a bad team fight for Boom, but Dreamer Cell, he understood what he could get done with this hero. And with that surprise Basher that he just picked up, it does end up paying off.
TNC's got to try to use that Santis Eclipse at some point. I think they need that spell used at this time. I mean, he has a lot of mana on this OD.
Yeah, John. I mean, TI 10's what, like 8 months?
Dire's middle tower has
You don't want to show off strats related to how to use these clips
No, absolutely
beyond just
not.
pressing R.
Yeah, gotta be careful.
Dream Missile. Oh, they chopped the tree.
TNC gonna find him. TNC is actually relatively
Gabby?
tanky considering.
Gabby?
Yeah,
Gabby?
Gabby's dead.
Gabby, what?
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
How did that happen, John? Never mind, in fact, Hyde's gone for more. He found March on the Abaddon, and now March... borrowed time's nice, but it's not going to help you survive this, I don't think, as, yeah, FBZ's there. Avalanche toss. Not even toss, just an avalanche.
Dire's middle tower is
How did Gabby die, John?
He walked up the hill. He, for some reason, poked the troll, and then just had Mikado right-click him, and he walked away. And it wasn't enough to walk away at this point.
Fair enough.
I mean, he should have gotten that early BKB. Really, it's pertinent when you're playing against the Silencer as the OD. That's the one thing you need early.
Now they're going for tier 3s, that mid lane. Going to be pushed in. Armel going to be there to defend with KP. They do have buybacks available on the OD and the Abaddon, so I don't think they'll go any further here for the side of Boom. They'll come back, they'll defend their own base, which is being pushed in next to those super creeps. Well, TNC going to try and punish now as Hyde has the blink, does toss before he uses it. Still, the chain's in from KP. They really want to find something out of nothing. Well, there's the Yule. So find the Tiny at the very least. Hyde understands he's just dead here, and he'll accept it.
The harder they fall.
I dare say, Boom probably doesn't mind that too much.
No, definitely not. Just the 1k lead for them, less than 1k lead. Still TNC trying to find a bit more with that one pick off. But Boom knows better. They're playing safe, sticking near their base. No Roche as well. That's going to be in about less than a minute. We'll see whether or not TNC has the patience to wait out for that objective instead. Not much else to clear on the map, really. All tier 2's gone. Top rack's gone. They can't find anything besides kills.
Kill attempt here, Dreamer Cell going to move forward onto KP. Does get the immediate root, and now the Rolling Thunder. They'll rupture up one. It's going to be Makoto, it looks like, but he just wants to stand quiet. He doesn't mind, and yeah, they'll get Armel straight off the bat, and now KP, he's gone. Dreamer Cell just manning up against everyone. He does not give a crap. They almost found more. Tim's barely gets away with the cookie TP on the cliff. This Troll Warlord though, John, he literally does not care. He'll just run at you. And in fact, TNC, they don't have buybacks on the Bloodseeker or the Timber.
It's a huge opening for Boom if they choose to force the issue, and they are. They're pushing down that mid lane once more. They might find Tims.
Yeah, they found it. Avalanche Toss and the Abyssal was there though. He does force up and does have a cookie. He needs to get to that high ground, and he barely makes it out.
Regeneration.
Very well played by Tims once again. Bot lane, FBZ, playing around.
Oh,
give him the tip.
Oh my god.
FBZ, and Gabby, not going to be happy. He actually popped the sanities for that, by the way. And it did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no.
That was the first sanities of the game, John. Does not end up in a kill. And it was 1v1 up against the Pango.
That is underwhelming for our OD. Gabby not going to be very pleased about that. That little exchange as well with the tree line. I mean, that was a bit of a back and forth. Force staff in right as the blink went off, so he didn't even see him. And that does allow Boom to go for this Roche as well. So you got to deal with potentially 3-4 lives on Dreamocell. The Aegis, his Trance, False Promise, and Cheese.
Back in a few minutes.
Sounds fairly balanced to me. Sounds fair. TNC now, smoking up. This is definitely the time to try and team fight, especially considering they have the Aegis and a double damage on Dreamer Cell. If TNC loses team fight right now, or if they fight, they are completely screwed. As they saw KP, Avalanche is going to connect, it'll cancel the chains, but Force Staff is there to save the day. Boom, they will not try to force anything too quickly. Their top lane once again is being pushed in. They'll have to go back and defend that. But at the same time, this just keeps buying more time for the Troll, for the Silencer to get really online and become unstoppable. And at this rate, I can't imagine it not happening. Like, it just seems like TNC will not be able to push high ground again.
TNC has so much catching up to do right now. Like, Gabby's not nearly kitted out to take these fights anymore. You're losing out on the potency that KP has with his natural durability. It's just not showing up anymore. We're at 35 minutes in. This is usually when a Turbosaw does naturally just taper off without itemization anyway. So the utility you're getting from this lineup is diminishing, and TNC still hasn't managed to find a way to get their own farm up. Armel's the most farm they have on their side so far, and it's a long shot away from what Dreamocell has. Dreamocell's about 5k ahead.
But you saw Armel, right? In that last team fight, like, he ran in and just died instantly.
He doesn't have... He can't man fight against the troll. That's supposed to be the OD's job with the right items. The issue is Gabby does not have the right items. He's been flicking back and forth between the BKB queued up. He's been flicking back and forth between that and the Hex. And it looks like he is going to prioritize that BKB now. But even then, I think at this point the BKB might not be enough with the damage that the troll does. Sure, you're getting bothered by the silence, but troll doesn't care.
Certainly doesn't. There's a smoke coming out from Boom. They need to make something happen with this Aegis. Not necessarily need, but they definitely want to. And Tim's, or rather KP, would be a great target, though. Hyde blinks the wrong way. That's a little mistake coming out from Hyde that we haven't seen throughout the series yet, and it does cost him a pretty big kill.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity, but I wouldn't say it's too bad. Again, Boom is enjoying a bit of a respite. Sure, they're down 1 Rax, though. That's the one thing that's keeping Boom in heavy check. We saw that come into play last time. They couldn't really go for anything because their own base was being shoved in. So TNC does have that going for themselves, that every time Boom ID will try to force something out, as long as the top lane's shoved in, they can't get too far.
KP, or rather TNC, understand this. They are just continuously making sure this top lane is not going out, going straight back into that Boom ID base. Just forcing to stay in that base, or rather stay close, while TNC catch up on farm. Mel desperately trying to get that Abyssal Blade up so he can actually just try and disable this troll. Stop the battle transfer being too effective. Maybe even just jump the backlines though. FBZ, he's going to find Tims on the snap. They have assigned the Vice on Makoto, which means Tims is 100% dead. That's going to be a bit more intelligence going to the Silencer. Meanwhile, bot lane, Dreamocell, once again just rushing towards the base of the Dire. He's just going to go for a tier 3. So Gabby will be there with the Astral.
He still has the Aegis up, he still has his Cheese up, he still has Trance up. And if his Oracle's in the area, he has his False Promise. How do you kill the troll at this point in the game?
Avalanche cost Hyde. He's going to be there to set up Dreamocell. He's just going for the tier 3. He does not care about anything else. He pops Satanic and farms the creep wave a bit. Full HP once again. With that Satanic on cooldown, do you keep going? I mean, the Aegis is still there like you said, so why the hell not? Another silence. He does. This will jump in on the OD, and well, with the Battle Trance BKB, it's going to be a lot of damage on Gabby. He gets stunned up. He's trying to run away. March will take the damage for his teammate. Borrow Time will pop a Dreamocell now. Probably doesn't want to go too much longer. There's those Mortimer's Kisses coming out again, though it's cancelled off immediately. Though no, it is not. It was still going, but Hyde does eventually cancel it off. Dreamocell, though, he found March on the Abaddon. Looks like Makoto did end up going down to Armel on the Bloodseeker, so a massive pickup from TNC. They may just find another in the form of Hyde, and it looks like they will. In fact, now they want to keep trying to teamfight the Dreamocell. He's not too afraid right now. He did lose his Aegis though, and he wants to fight with the Cheese. He jumps in straight onto the OD. He wants that OD gone, and Gabby, he will Astral just in the nick of time. FBZ just rolling around trying to find that stun. They will find the OD kill. No buyback available on Gabby now. Can they find KP? It looks like they just may be able to as they force him more forward, and they will find the kill. Now Tims, he gets tossed in as well by Hyde once again, and it'll actually be Kescube who finds the triple on the Oracle, of all things.
Oh boy, but it's a rough time. 2
heroes have no buybacks. KP will have to buy back straight away. In fact, there are no buybacks left for TNC.
That's not where you want to be right now. You need at You need that OD to be up and running. That's really your answer here. Even if it hasn't been working out, but he did buy that PKB out so earlier on, so no option for that here, and this is just going to be Rax.
AP gets tossed back again. He'll chains forward. They do get one Rax. Do they go for more, though? You've still got another 30 seconds without the OD. You've also got Battle Trance available again. Dream Missile, he knows this. He's going to go for a bit more. How do you stop it?
Without that OD, you don't really stop it. You just try to mitigate your losses right now. TNC, they're playing it safe. They're trying to slow this down just a bit more.
Jules, Heaven's Halberd, just buying time. OD's up. Dream Missile can't finish off the racks, and now they want to punish Armel. Moving forward with a double damage rune. They won't find anybody though. They'll just leave them be. Execute gives the call to the team. Get the hell back. Well, that evens out the map. One Rax for one Rax. Of course, Boom ID, they do have the extra tier 3 towers that they got, which is very nice for them. Not to mention a 12k net worth lead for themselves, so they are sitting very happy.
Definitely. This is almost reminiscent of Game 1, except TNC is struggling just a bit more here. It's still even on the kill board. The advantage for Boom is pretty similar to Game 1, almost. Their execution's much cleaner, though, and they find Armel here.
Armel. Missile Blade will be there, and Astral comes out, but they have a side device. The OD could be in trouble. Hyde, he's gone for 4. He tosses him back again, and with that, this Bloodseeker, he's still surviving somehow, but the Dreamer Cell will not leave him be. He does go down, though. He does have buyback this time around. KP runs the hell out of there, but Hyde once again with the toss. Tiny airlines just eat your heart out. FBZ moving forward straight onto that Snapfire, and with that side device, there's not much he can do. Tim, he has a cookie, but what does a cookie do when you're surrounded by 3 heroes? It does nothing. In fact, they found the OD once again. But
oh god,
Troll
Armel.
doesn't care for the OD. He wants that Bloodseeker. Armel gets stunned up. That's a dieback on the PS, and that is GG. TNC will lose game number 2. That'll mean a 1-1 for either side of these teams as we'll be forced to a game number 3.
Worth watch that one. Boom ID, they fixed the issues I had from Game 1, Mike. They closed out the game. They understood they had the advantage.
tower is
perform.
under attack.
Dire's middle tower is under attack. Dire's middle tower has fallen.
setting up quite nicely for that aggression they've been consistently pumping out in the series.
Well, one ban for either side left. Once again, BoomID has not shown their hand in terms of that mid lane. Snapfire has gone unbanned and unpicked, which is extreme. Both sides did lose with the Snapfire, to be fair, so it's a game-losing hero apparently, as TNC Predator. They'll get rid of the Storm. It is a free Storm game had it been available, but I will repeat, there's still a Husker here. Now, it doesn't do quite as well up against the Morphling, to be fair,
10
but
seconds
it's still
remaining.
a Husker. It could just take over the game before your Morphling's even online.
5 seconds remain.
Free pick, right? You've got the Oracle. We're going into last pick, not banned out yet. That reserve time, though.
Perhaps the thing is, though, with TNC Predator, I mean, you look at those heroes, they got the Void Spirit, they got the Morph. If Lifebreak was committed on either of those two, they could just make their way back very quickly using their own abilities. And suddenly you'd have a Husker very out of position. So it's maybe TNC Predator's kind of baiting out the pick.
That's possible. It is still kind of rough as a Husker as well, especially if the Enchantress comes out onto your lane. Okay, they go with the Ember Spirit in the end. So you've got this great team fight, great mobility from BoomID. They've got a great way of just jumping in, taking these fights. Monkey King, the Centaur, the Ember, just gap closing quite fast. And I think this lineup's really tied up. It's not the most outrageous draft we've seen from BoomID, but it's well stitched together, and it really gives me
remaining.
idea that their mindset going into game 3 is just to play a consistent game, play aggressive early on, play it cleanly. And again, that was my biggest issue with Boom throughout, not just in this series, but really every single time we covered BoomID. Their main issue has been that consistency. This is the most consistent I've seen them carry a game out. And if they can close out this game 3, that's just a step closer towards DPC for these guys.
I mean, look, looking at BoomID's draft, to say the least, John, Ember Spirit, no lockdown for him. No real lockdown for the Monkey King. You could morph into the Centaur, steal Hoof Stomp or Lift, I guess, from the Rubik, but you talked about BoomID's consistency. Like you said, today they've been fairly consistent. Drafts looking good. TNC, they'll go for the Pango. They know they needed that team fight, so that's fair enough. You'll give KP that offlane Pango. Is it enough up against this kind of draft? Because it's such a mobile draft from BoomID. I just don't know if they have enough lockdown.
It's going to be tricky. They do have the tools to turn it their way. The execution is much harder. I'd say it's easier to pull off Boom's draft than it is for TNC to pull off their draft in this case, especially if you hit those timings on BoomID. They just need to hit 6 and perhaps a blink on their Centaur. That's really it to start forcing something out. It's not going to be as rough. TNC, they're going to have to really think about who they commit their control towards and how they initiate these fights. They don't have a real clear-cut initiator besides KP's Pangolier to roll in, but you don't have someone that's truly frontline and tanky straight up. The Pangolier is, but it requires either a big shield crash or a fair bit of farm to really get yourself going there.
Fair point. Should be an interesting game nonetheless. I mean, both drafts fine, don't get me wrong. It's more about how they play it out, and like you said, if BoomID, if they can get a good start going for themselves, it looks really good for them. If TNC are able to buy Gabby time in that Morphling, though, it is still a Morphling at the end of the day, and it is still very painful to try and play against. And of course, we can't forget about Armel and the Void Spirit. Don't underestimate these new heroes. I mean, they could really run amok this game if given the chance. But
Definitely.
we'll see what happens. I'm just happy to see some good Dota.
Oh yeah, it's been a wild series, right? Like, game 1 was just something else to watch. Game 2 was, I want to say, nearly the same tempo as game 1, but BoomID just closed it out. And if they can do that, and here, they hit their own timings well and exploit the weaknesses in TNC's draft. Again, that brings them one step closer towards that DPC miner. I think they were hungry for a long time.
They're definitely hungry.
I mean, it's lunchtime as well, so they're actually literally hungry.
I'm literally starving right now, though, John. I've got a comment on this this Ember Spirit, John. He's holding a nunchuck and a Divine Rapier at the same time. Don't know if I like that. And I didn't realize that was possible, to be honest with you. I thought you had to have one or the other, but
no, they're separate weapons. They're separate weapons, so
okay.
You can't have this interesting look.
Can you use a nunchuck as well as a sword in real life, John? Is that?
I mean, nothing's stopping you. Whether or not you're effective is a different question, but you could.
Fair
Technically,
enough.
yes, Mike, you could.
Fair enough. We'll see. If Dreamer Soul loses this game, we know what the problem was. Talk about it later, Dreamer Soul. We'll sort out. I'll buy you the other nunchuck or the other Divine Rapier, whichever one you want. You have a pause coming out. Cursor Bug. Even the curse is confused now, John.
Oh, man. We haven't had a pause in a while as well. You know, that's one thing. The internet has been holding up for everyone, so that's good. Very good indeed.
Good sign. Of course, there was that unfortunate incident, excuse me, I believe in the major qualifiers.
Yeah, it's just
about that because we'll get a bit upset.
You know me.
You will.
I enjoy it. I enjoy it sometimes. Being upset, you know, it lets out some tension, Mike. Gives you some good tension release.
You must love
Sprung
when
up.
it drops out every.
I love it.
day.
Oh, I love it, Mike. You know me. You've heard me when it drops out. Love it.
Well, actually, I haven't because
I'm cut.
There's no way to talk to you when it drops out.
At the very least, you know, I take Cursor Bug over internet issues. So, Dream us all. You're good. He's back.
He gives us sorry.
In the void.
Professional. Missile.
Look at that clump up top. TNC. 4-manning.
30 seconds
Pumped
to
up.
battle.
They want that disruption. It could be a very easy first blood on FBZ, but they're not in range. Tim's, he misses the fog, cancelling the animation. He's still going for it. Could he find perhaps the Rubik? He's not in range. He's getting close though, and he will not throw it out. He'll just right click. Fair enough.
It's going to be 2-2 runes, as we have seen the past few times. So both teams just trading evenly. Still, that forward posturing from TNC. Really trying to find something to exploit there.
I think that's the name of the game here for TNC, right? Like if they could just get a good early start, shut down this draft of Boom ID early to mid, it's going to be very hard for Boom to contest.
Definitely. They just need to maximize these strong laning picks. I think having Tims and March in one lane for a bit, just to completely shut it out, is the way to go in. That is what they're looking to do here. March still hasn't leveled anything up. Should see the Impetus sometime soon.
Where are you going?
No, it actually goes for the enchant.
Fair enough. I can't say I agree with that, but the thing is, though, he can just rotate into the jungle and steal a creep now, and I suppose you could argue that's even more effective in some sense, especially considering they are running a tri-lane with the Shadow Demon, so if you get lucky with the Centaur, then you essentially have a secondary stun.
Yeah, it's really potent in that case as well. At the very least, if this lane is going to be shut out as well, like TNC falls behind, you can also just farm in the jungle very early on and just have the big creep tank it up. That is something that TNC is considering. They're trying to cover all their bases here.
It's a Centaur.
So far.
Finds one.
There you go.
Doesn't have much time, to be fair. Only about, what is it, 30 seconds? Yep, 30 seconds at level 1. You'd assume they'd go for hide because it's the much easier kill, but they needed the disruption setup, I believe. So Kescute is there on the Oracle. Well, Tim's is already TP'd down bot, so this trial lane's over for TNC. Cream Missile gonna struggle a bit on his own. They're gonna force the dual lane out from the side of Boom ID, it seems, by doing this. Boom so far have not reacted though. They have not TP'd down to help out the Ember. They're just gonna leave him be.
From now.
It's an interesting choice from Boom. These supports they have do need EXP to be online, so splitting it up in a tri-lane like this is going to hurt, particularly Kescute. I don't think he's going to be escalating as fast, although they TP him out.
Disruption is there again. Kescute realizing he needs to come down as Dreamer Cell. I mean, he literally just salved up, and he's back to the point where he was anyway. So Kescute's going to be there to help from now on. So we do go immediately to dual lanes. Because we haven't really talked about the mid lane yet, but it is Armel versus Makoto on the Monkey King. And this is a much harder matchup for the Void Spirit, as that Jingu Mastery makes it very, very hard to get in close to get those last hits.
Definitely, and there's a bit of a range advantage as well for Makoto, so he can just apply that pressure just a bit easier.
Fair, isn't it? The staffs are pretty much the same size, but Armel can't reach as far apparently. Although Kims will come in, disruption. There's the hold, I suppose you'd call it. Remnant, excuse me. Balance strike does hurt though.
It's harder for Armel to trade as well, like the mana cost and spells and the mana pool he has doesn't really give him too much leeway to play aggressive here.
He's finding a nice little courier pickup up at the top lane. That was Hides, and he's going to find
another one.
Tims. They'd never expect the second time. He'll find another straight towards Tims. See you guys later. The mid lane, Armel does go down to Makoto, and immediately, well, it's a tip towards Makoto, which is fair enough, but I suppose that's the Monkey King versus Void Spirit matchup, right? It's very hard for the Void.
Definitely. It's going to be interesting to see how Armel plays catch-up here in that jungle, perhaps. It's going to be a bit rough. I don't think he's the fastest farmer in the jungle. It's not too bad. He has some mobility as well, but not the position you really want to be in with this hero.
In terms of last hits, he's behind by about 13 now. To mention that first blood he just gave away. Kodo, with the XP advantage, is a full level ahead, so he can just do this. He has Boundless Strike up, so Armel cannot risk anything. Get the shield off. Oh, Boundless Strike misses, but he at least gets the creeps, I guess. While Tim's falling very low up that top lane, FBZ was chasing him down, but wasn't able to find the kill secure. So things will carry on. At the very least, FBZ has been able to somewhat shut down Gabby in the top lane, in the sense that he has gotten quite a few denies off on this Centaur, but Gabby more than likely will be able to catch up. It's not like they can really kill him.
Definitely not. Not at this point. The biggest issue for TNC now is that their supports are again stuck in this weird tri-lane up top. So they're going to have to split that EXP up. And it looks like Tims will be caught in the short end of the stick, walking around trying to find stacks, I suppose, at this point.
I mean, it's fair enough. Tims is kind of used to, you know, getting the short end of the stick. He just kind of makes it work no matter what. Here's cute. Smoked up, gonna steal a nice little bounty rune for himself. Armel would have loved it for himself, but unfortunately for him, he's gonna have to walk away with only one charge in his bottle. Kescute is not gonna make it easy for him. He'll place a nice deep observer ward down behind that tier 1 tower. And that does pretty much indicate that Boom is planning to be very aggressive towards that mid lane.
I like seeing that from Boom ID. They understand their timings in this case. Sure, it's been a pretty slow early game in terms of kills, but the farm is being secured by Boom ID so far. All of their cores are having a bit of a better time overall, especially that mid lane, of course, which we talked about. And their supports are getting a bit more EXP as well. So they're escalating quite nicely into that mid game.
Make a rotation. Kescute is there, but Armel does have wards to spot him out. Pretty nice ward, actually. You wouldn't expect it to be in that location, so it doesn't get D-ward early on. Hyde now, gonna say hello to March. March will say hello back. Kodo, still basically free farming in the mid lane. In fact, they're gonna try and make maybe a bit of a jump here. March will throw the Centaur in, but it's spotted very easily. But here comes Tims. He needs a disruption on Hyde, and he'll get it. This should be a very easy Rubik kill. And, well, with the Remnant there as well, Hyde surely doesn't get out, and doesn't, though Makoto is going to try and punish for this. He'll move forward onto Tims. He has Boundless Strike if he wants to, and Tims, he may not even need it. Makoto, one more right click will do the job, and he does get it. In fact, he may turn onto March now, or just Armel. Never mind, Remnant comes out, Jingu Mastery is over. Get the stop off as well. Makoto needs to get the hell out of here. Armel wants to chase Mischief. It will not dodge anything. Makoto is still running Fairy Fire. It won't be enough. Armel does find the kill. And that is pretty massive for Armel, considering how far behind he was. It's going to be a fair bit of golden XP going to the way of this Void Spirit.
It really is, and that was a bit of a greedy play from Boom ID.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Going to be here. They'll go after FBZ. There's disruption coming out with the remnant setup, though you still have this Monkey King to help FBZ. He's a very tanky boy. They're going to stampede in straight after Tim's on that Shadow Demon. They'll get the hoop stop off of Makoto. He doesn't want to pirate this. The Rolling Thunder. They'll find Tim straight off the bat, but can they get Makoto out of there? It looks like they may not be able to as the chains come in from Dreamer Soul. Now they'll go after KB instead. So they'll make it a 2-for-0 trade so far for Boom ID. Now March is a sitting duck. He's trying to run away, but they should have enough damage. March is still tanking all this damage coming in from Boom ID. And well, eventually they'll get it. Hyde will pick it up on the Rubik. But still a fantastic team fight coming out from Boom.
Definitely was a bit of an extended fight at that, but they still find a couple of big kills there. Would have really wanted to see a lot more go down. Of course, I think they really want Armel's head. In fact, he comes back in.
Certainly does.
This pleases me to no end.
Able to walk out of there, okay.
Radiant's bottom.
Of course, while all that was happening, John, Gabby's still free farming bot lane, and he's kept up in net worth. He's about to take over this Monkey King. In fact, he's going straight for that Ethereal Blade, and once he's got that up, the supports of Boom ID are going to just explode. So it seems like TNC are taking solace in the fact that Gabby is just farming.
Yeah, it's okay for TNC. Again, they understand what they need to get done as well. Just protect Gabby, buy him space. Hopefully the Morphling will be big enough that they can just fall back to him. It's a hero they've played around for a very long time, so they know its timings, what to expect. And I think going 7-5 with only a 1k deficit for TNC, they're not doing too bad. They're still finding space in the map, they're still finding farm. In fact, beyond that Monkey King, their own cores are pretty much matched up quite nicely with the opposing cores. So they're keeping up in farm, distribution's good. They just need to hold out until the moment when Gabby's confident enough to take these fights.
Take their outpost back. Armel now starting to get closer and closer to that Yules that he desperately needs on that Void Spirit. Gabby's still going for that Ethereal, just rushing the Eagle Song rather than going for the Ghost Scepter. Look over to this Monkey King Makoto. His farm is slowed down a hell of a lot. I mean, he's still top of the net worth board. He's going to have the Diffusal Blade soon, but it kind of makes you question, is he having enough impact yet?
I think it's slowed down a bit too much. Then again, these fights have been a bit scrappy. If they find this kill Makoto right now,
they could. Remnant does not connect though. Makoto still Armel with a double damage. Very scary hero to try and go up against, so they'll just back out of there safely. Meanwhile, Dreamer Soul is still farming the top lane, pushing it out.
Come get healed.
Getting very close to his Maelstrom, and once that Maelstrom's up on the Ember, he does have a little spike in power.
Radiant's bottom tower.
Rather
is
a
under
massive
attack.
spike in power. Both teams seem pretty okay with just continuing to farm up. Hyde, gonna get caught out at the bot lane. Gabby worshipful into the Rubik for the lift. Still though, Gabby might be in a bit of trouble here with this Wukong's command. He's falling very low and he's out of mana. There's no way out of this, Gabby. He does go down. And some very quick rotations coming up from Boom ID though. Tim's disruption in the tree line. Makoto won't mind though. He just jumps out with his new Diffusal, and Tim's has no way out of this situation. Boundless is there if he needs it. Makoto will clean up the Shadow Demons though. Mid lane, the T1 has started being taken. Dreamer Cell, he could the team fight. KP falls very does go down, so it's going to be a 3-for-0 trade, and maybe it may even be for his March. Does get Primal Springed up. Makoto does need a bit of help here. Or maybe he doesn't. Once the Boundless Strike's available, he may just, you know, kill him. In fact, Dream Missile will take it for himself.
Fair enough. And again, you are seeing Boom ID identify the targets they want. They make a good bait down bot to grab Gabby out. They rotate down mid right after to find those kills as well. They lose their tier 1, which is a fair bit of control going the way of TNC, but they should be able to find a tier 1 in return as well.
Looks like they will.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
I like seeing this itemization being queued up on Mikoto. He's going for that early BKB, and it shows that Boom ID does understand. They want to hit that early timer. They don't want to wait out. They don't want to give Gabby that opportunity to be massive. So just having that way for the Monkey King to be right in the middle of this fight without worrying too much, going to be a massive help for Boom ID.
Still, Boom just looking fantastic. KP, I mean, I thought he was doing better in the lane, I'll be honest, John, but it looks like he's struggling in terms of net worth a bit. He's a very squishy Pango at the moment. He has the treads and the Vladimirs. That Boom. We'll see if they continue this aggression up, as it looks like Makoto just wants to secure that BKB beforehand. He is going to give Gabby time to finish the shotgun, though.
Honestly, the shotgun is a strange prospect. On one hand, of course, it's a lot of damage. On the other hand, you've got pretty much a way of stopping it. You know, you've got the edict to stop the magic damage coming out from that. So you do have a way of mitigating the damage from that shotgun.
That's true. I can't say the same about the supports, though. They're kind of screwed. Look at that Oracle. If you could just burst him down before he gets the other edict off.
Bottom tower is
That is a pretty darn nice way to start the team fight, and Gabby, I believe, knows it. In fact, he's got it coming out right now. We get a bit of spell life still with the vampire. Really want it, but he's going to jump in and he does not actually get the Oracle. Not quite enough damage. Kesku got the false promise off, and now they're rolling thunder. KP, he wants to go in. He finds 3 of them straight off the bat. Makoto wants to get the hell out of there, or maybe they go back in. FBZ, he's still around and still ready to go in. They did commit the stampede though, so they haven't got the best entrance into this team fight as FBZ falls very low, but now a cube is rolling around the map. Hide? That's not how that's meant to work, John. Mel. Gonna set up with the remnant once again. Still, FBZ, he's so darn tanky. Just with that pipe, they just aren't able to burst him down, and now Tim's, he's falling very low, and Dream Missile, he'll pick up the kill, and in fact, they'll keep going for more Dream Missile. Can he find anybody else with the chains? It's not on cooldown yet, so we'll have to wait it out. But perhaps just with that one kill, they may be satisfied enough to just try and take the safer play and fall to the T1 tower. Never mind, they got the chains off of the Pango. KP was a bit far forward. He got the shield crash off, but it doesn't mean anything. Gabby again trying to burst out the Monkey King, but it does not work out in his favor. Dream Missile gets the chains off. Now they get the ensnare, and it looks like they may lose the Mortals. They know that the shotguns are inside Gabby. He'll wait for him out of there barely, but Dream Missile again with the chains, and now the Purge as well. Though Gabby's still surviving throughout all this. He just agile and strength morphing his way to victory. Dream Missile, he does go down in the end. Now Kesku trying to run out of there, but Armel has the remnant. And Gabby, I mean, he was on the brink of dying for at least a minute there, John. He just survived the whole way.
Oh man, it felt greedy from Boom ID. They didn't quite have enough there, even with that good chains onto KP. They couldn't burst them down fast enough. The damage isn't quite there yet. I say that, but TNC's been struggling with damage as well. That's the shotgun under Morphling not killing anyone for a very long time. That's a worrying prospect. In the end, TNC does win out. Like, they're going to be happy with that trade. They got a lot of kills in that. It just took way longer than it should have, and once the BKB does eventually get finished for Mikoto, he's not going to have that issue anymore. Right now, he's just a bit too squishy. He was far forward, didn't manage to get that strike in with the Jingu on top to get his HP back up and running, so he was teetering on the edge just a bit too much. But with a BKB, I don't think that's going to be a major issue. So we'll see whether or not TNC can get a lot more done before that timing. It's not going to be too long for Mikado to have that item up and running.
Mel gets a nice double damage bottle up for himself, so you can imagine TNC probably want to try and make a play happen with that. You do have the option for the Roshan with the double damage. I mean, you could give that over to the Morphling and he could hit like an absolute truck. Perhaps they may just force a team fight instead. KP keeping eyes out on FBZ. The rest of the team are coming in.
Oh, Armel.
There. KP. Armel meanwhile, top lane. Going after Hyde, they're going to be able to find this Ruby kill. So bot lane, they do end up finding FBZ with the stun, but the rotations are slowly but surely coming in. But there's a shotgun. It won't do enough with the pipe. Tim's falling very low, and he does go down to Dreamer Soul. And now the battle strike straight onto Gabby. He's still morphed into that Centaur form, and now he'll morph back. Dreamer Soul just juking himself around this team fight as the rest come in. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade. Both pawns falls. In fact, never mind. They go for more KP. He's been caught out of position. It's not going to be enough though as Armel jumps in the backlines and again finds another support with the double damage rune. KP looking for more. There won't be anything else to be taken for TNC, but they're going to be more than happy with that, it seems.
That's a bit rough there for Boom, not managing to find that opening. I think the one thing that really got them over that top engagement in particular was the fact that Hyde, he was in that stolen Rolling Thunder, but he broke it off for some reason. Perhaps with a spell steal. He just broke the form off, and they couldn't maintain on Armel, which cost them. If they could have found that kill on the Void Spirit, that bottom engagement might have worked out a bit better.
Bottom tower has fallen.
Bot T2 does go down to TNC. They won't force anything else, so just a few Mantra illusions, or rather just illusions. Pushing that T3 tower. FBZ, that's a lot of damage from those Morphling illusions, my god.
Oh yeah. Looks like a Smoke into Roche is the name of the game for TNC.
Yeah, why not? I mean, you don't have that double damage any longer, but you don't need it, really. Gabby's just hitting so hard, especially with those Shadow Demon illusions. Doom ID don't seem to know what's happening. If they did, I don't know if they have an option in all this. But it seems like they weren't expecting it this early on from this kind of draft from TNC. Unfortunately for them, that is how it pans out. And just as the Aegis goes to the way of the Morphling, Makoto does finish off that BKB now. Bit of an awkward timing though for Boom, as they would have loved to take that Roshan fight had they had the BKB.
For sure. They are jumping on March, but that's an Enchantress.
It is. Boundless Strike does connect. Hoopstomp is there as well. March is healing up though.
Oh man,
and,
that is...
You can
no.
probably just TP out.
No. I mean, it's Enchantress though, right? Like, you should know that is bound to happen. In fact, Remo Cell up top.
Ooh, that's a big catch. Armel, can he hold down Remnant? Not being thrown out yet, but here comes Gabby. Ethereal is available. He just needs vision. Remusel has no remnants left, so he's going to make a run for it. And Armel, well, there was a remnant out towards the north. Now he really doesn't have any as Tims gets the disruption off Dreamersaw. He needs another 8 seconds. No real mana to spare though anyway. So he's just trying to waste time at this point. If he gets out, it would be an absolute miracle. There's a remnant. He's trying to juke them out here. He doesn't actually have the mana to commit to go to the remnant. And Armel makes him. He's gone. Dreamersaul. No, they'll find him. 1,040 damage from Tims.
Yeah, that's what you get when you really cop all of those and the Soul Catcher there. Unfortunate, but that was some good play coming out from TNC. They were microing their courier to keep tabs on those remnants as well. So there would have been no escape for our Ember Spirit in any case.
Armel jumps in on FPV. He's surrounded though. That was a bit of a bait coming out, and unfortunately for Armel, he fell for it. Now Tims. Well, Armel gets baited, and then Tims gets baited by his own teammate. It happens. But with that,
it happens.
It's not good for TNC though. They lose their mid Void Spirit.
and potentially a tier 2 tower as well. Not in position to take that trade up top. Looks like Boom ID will just secure themselves a little bit more control in the map, evening it out.
Is under attack.
Not to mention getting ever so close to that Aghanim Scepter now on the Monkey King. Gabby, though, finds Dreamer so alone. Just bursting down with the Ethereal Shotgun. Gabby, though, gonna try and make a run out. He has morphed into the Ember, throws the chains up, bit of a slight, and Gabby should be okay. They don't have the catch for the morph.
Yeah, that's rough. Just taking that kill afterwards, it's a bit more of a win for TNC. I think slowing down the Ember Spirit is going to be big. That does delay the BKB by just a tad bit more. And it's not like Gabby was in any real danger.
Oh, they have found him though. Now he may be as he does Ethereal up. BZ, nice hoof stomp there. It's a lot of damage, but Gabby just to turn around. He still has the Aegis. Stampede is there. They're looping around here as March was trying to find a nice little slow on the side of Boom. It does not pan out, however. This Morphling is proving to be a massive problem. They'll smoke up now. They've still got the Aegis. Why the hell not?
Yes.
Straight towards that mid-tier 2 tower, perhaps trying to bait the side of Boom ID with Armel on the Void.
Tower is under attack.
At BZ. Careful you position yourself, sir. Not have Stampede available right now, and well, Makoto, I can say the same for you. They're gonna jump in, Armel, again trying to bait them out. Now they're rolling thunder from KP, straight onto the backlines. In fact, no, straight after Makoto, but he beat KP's up. He wants to try and fight this. KP, though, gonna roll out of there, and they can just wait out this BKB duration, though, no. FBZ, he'll jump in with the stun onto the Morph. Gabby, though, cops absolutely no damage, and now Armel, straight on the Rubik. In fact, never mind, they want FBZ on that Centaur. Glimmer Cape will save for now. Can he actually get himself out, though? They get the Yules off by Armel, and FBZ is basically a sitting duck, or is he? Remnant is there to bring him back, and now the false promise. FBZ still alive somehow. TNC, though, want to really bring this man down, and it looks like they will not find him, as he does manage to get up thanks to that false promise.
Under attack.
Yeah, it's a pretty tight way of bailing out your Centaur there, and that is a cause for concern out for Boom ID as TNC cleans out the map. No control left for Boom, no outer towers left for them. And TNC, 5k advantage on gold. They're in a pretty good spot. Like, they have all the farm they need in Gabby. The timing's not the issue for his hero this time around. Boom ID, they need to find a way to force these fights out. They need to find a hero to burst. And it just hasn't been working out. They've been trying to jump Armel to no effect. Armel has not been dying in a while.
Yeah. Finding themselves 5k behind, and look at TNC, they're just happy to continue that aggressive positioning. You should have a look at that win probability, and TNC currently have a pretty nice chance, 75% their way. Boom, not looking too healthy right now, as, I mean, Makoto still trying to get that Aghanim Scepter, and even then, I just don't know if he has the damage output. I mean, the Axe is annoying, that's for sure, but does he get the job done?
Not quite. He needs a lot more beyond just the Ags. It's gonna help. The stats are nice. I guess just added durability is always good at this point, but take a look where TNC's playing. They're just playing so far aggressive.
Yeah.
They want these tier 3s, and you know, the Aegis is gone, but they have the confidence to go up in this high ground.
Well, you have a Manta and the Shadow Demon illusion. So you could just keep spamming illusion. They hit pretty hard because he's max Agimorph.
Dire's bottom tower.
They'll back off. They did a hell of a lot of damage. Their own tier 3 at the bot lane's being pushed in, but that's really copped no damage. I don't think TNC backs off here. I think they just keep this up.
No reason not to. Again, they have all the tools they need to get anything started. They actually smoke up.
Dreamer Cell is showing at the bot lane, so it's not a very easy kill. You could only imagine he has a Remnant somewhere, but he Remnants to it, and it looks like TNC are aware that he may be somewhere around that area.
Is under attack.
So now he throws another Remnant. TNC, are you going to run into that Remnant? They scan him out, he TPs, but if they spot it out, they'll just wait. And, well, it looks like they may not know. They're not seeded in that neutral camp. Maybe they just
Doesn't look like it.
He's not going back anyway, so it's fine. March would have spotted it out now, but
It's a bit too late. Still, yeah. Boom ID trying to build back in. Of course, they have that BKB on Dreamo Cell that has not been used yet since they bought it, and they have the Ags up on Mikoto, so that the added stats are nice. The slightly added damage, and I guess the information you get from those monkeys are good as well. Good to have.
they are quite potent. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's a hell of a lot of damage output, and considering they stick around for a while, it can be super annoying to try and disengage a team fight, because their statues are just everywhere in a team fight, but I just have my doubts. Up against the Morking that's hitting this hard, it's hard to believe that Ags is going to make all the difference, but we're about to find out as they are making their way up towards TNC. Of course, it is painfully obvious that the Monkey King has Ags, considering there are statues laying around. We'll see Gabby. He does have help behind him though, in the form of Tims, but there's the Boundless Strike into the Primal Spring. Now the lift as well, but disruption straight away from Tims, but they'll jump on the back lines. Straight away, try and take him out. He's being forced up down to there, but FBZ does find him now. March, he's a sitting duck. He doesn't have the heal this time around, and he does go down, but KB with the Rolling Thunder. Armel in the back, controlling Keskut, forcing out the False Promise, and KB does get chained up. Dreamer Cell does find himself another nice pick. He can get it though, as Gabby is still around the area, and Tims has brought back with March. They're all making their way back in. Dreamer Cell though going straight after that Void Spirit Armel being chained up. He'll be okay. Meanwhile, Tims, that's a dieback on the Shadow Demon. He does go down to Makoto. Now they've got that Ember once again, but he's still surviving throughout all this. Dreamer Cell managing to live. He still survives the disruption coming up from the Rubik. Now Gabby's falling low. Makoto, he'll find KP. No buyback available on him. It looks like Dreamer Cell somehow still alive, and Armel's forced to TP out as they will lose Gabby. And March, he just brought back as well, John. It's going to be 2 diebacks, and nobody's going to have buyback available on the side of TNC.
Oh man, it feels like we've seen this one before. And
Kill for Makoto.
Just off the back of a fight like that, that is going to be a few objectives lost for TNC. I don't think the high ground's under heavy threat, but it's a possibility. They might at least lose a tier 3 there. And you can't really do too much. Like, the respawn for Gabby's pretty darn long. The diebacks are going to cost them as well. It's going to be a very hard defense. At the very least, they have a fortify to buy some time.
Just, I guess you wouldn't be expecting Boom to be pushing tier 3 this early on, but never hurts to say buyback goal. Be 1 Rax. You could run down bot, as there is a mid tier 2 still standing, so you don't have the mid option. Looks like they won't bother, they'll play it safe. They've got a Basher up coming out onto Makoto now as well, so it's another nice little surprise item for the side of Boom. And speaking of surprises, the Aghanim Scepter on Dreamer Cell is an absolutely huge item for him.
Dire's middle tower is under
that's gonna make it so much harder to punish Dreamo Cell for his forward movement. We have seen him die a couple of times because of that, but this time around, with that tool available, you're gonna be hard pressed to get that done. Keskut hanging around that pit, waiting for the rush to be back up as well. Don't go yet, don't go. Spots it.
Very nice.
And pauses right after.
Good pause. FBZ been spotted. Bug again.
Actually, no. Like, FBZ has not been spotted. Check that vision. That's low ground. Fortunate. FBZ sees KP. FBZ sees KP, but KP does not see FBZ.
They're pinging something out, though. Is that a radiant ping? It looks like a dire ping. Perhaps they're just guessing?
No, I'm checking, like, the vision between teams.
Okay.
Like, KP does not see. TNC does not see that.
Fair
They
enough.
might suspect something, though, but
Darn.
as long as FBZ's quick, I'd take it over internet. Again, this is better than internet issues, at the very least. Fixable. Just reset your client or reset the PC. Usually gets the job done. Usually. I wonder if they're having a bit of a bite to eat in the downtime, you know? It's lunchtime. You know, it's like...
Are you implying that you would like a bite to eat while we have this pause, John?
No, there's no time. I mean, it's one thing to talk about food, it's another to cast while eating, you know, that's just not what we do. We're professionals, or we try to be.
That's very funny, John. One pause very, very soon as a reconnection is there. Sorry, go is the call from FBZ, and he, of course, blinks out immediately after seeing KP on the low ground. And right after that pause, Gabby does have now the Eye of Skadi up, so a lot more stats for him. He's looking pretty darn good in this Morphling. Just a matter of his support's not getting caught out though, because as soon as they are, he's basically stuck in fact hide with the disruption. They won't go after Gabby, but they'll steal his illusions, and now the chains from Dreamer Cell. Playing around with this Morphling. Do they go for the Roshan attempt? Looks like they may, as Makoto does make his way there, and yeah, they're going to start this Roshan now. They want to try and force out this team fight, and you've got to admit, with these new items coming out of Bloom, they have really, really spiked. It's going to be a very, very tough team fight to try and take, especially with that Wukon's command.
Definitely. They do know something's up, the pings are flying out.
Get the Roshan. Still very, very low. They've got to hurry up if they want to try and contest. KP, he'll jump in. Still, Wukong is down. Roshan alive, and KP, he's bursted. Makoto, he does manage to pick up the Aegis, and now they want to go for more. Reverence forward straight away into the back lines. That's a lot of damage.
Oh no, Armel.
Armel, meanwhile, getting caught out with the double damage active, but it's not going to be enough as Makoto is on top. They get the disruption off the tip. Is it going to matter? It is absolutely not. Shotgun is there from Gabby, but doesn't do enough as the balance comes in. Gabby, no! And now Mark chase down Hims. Oh, I think that's over, John. It's no buybacks on your cause. March, we know he doesn't have buyback. He just died back. You run towards the fountain, Makoto. Do you keep diving? Not really, but there should be Megas.
It should be. They've got enough time for it. They've got the Aegis. There's really nothing to worry about right now. And just like that, TNC. The big thing there was that Armel tried to dissimulate out, but he got caught on the lower ground. He didn't manage to clip up.
There's March trying to do something as an Enchantress, but he's just going to die. Although, maybe not. He's going to walk out of there, apparently. They don't even care about it. They're just going after the tier 4s. He does have them healing up, though, so if they can delay this with this Rolling Thunder, it could be massive. In fact, they've delayed it enough that their teammates are coming back online, so it's not going to be GG. They hold on for another at least couple minutes as 2 Raxes go down, but they did not get the Megas and they didn't get the tier 4s. And it looks like that repair kit, John, it's a pretty potent item.
Yeah, it's keeping them in the game. For at least it's going to keep these tier 4s relatively healthy. But TNC now, backs against the wall. Still no buybacks up on the Morph. So we've got to watch out.
That's one thing though, right? Is every time this happens, they just don't have the gold for it.
At the very least, like, the buyback on Armel is going to be up in about 150 gold. So they're going to have that on Armel, but without it on Gabby, it just doesn't feel like it's enough.
No. Still Boom ID, the game is in their hands. Got to be careful to make the mistakes they made in game number 1, though. That was also a similar situation that they were in. Makoto. KP gets used up. He's alone right now, Makoto. Does have the Aegis, though. Yeah, okay. Gabby decides to morph and jump in the trees himself. Of course, you do have the Centaur War Runner with a heart now, so he's just casually sitting there about 5k HP. Nothing wrong with that. Very, very tanky boy.
Seems about right to me. Like FBZ has no real worries now. You can't burst this guy down straight up, or you'd have to expend all your spells, really, to even make a dent.
TNC, they're trying to push out the other lanes and force the side of Boom ID back, but Boom ID not falling for it this time. They'll just have to play this as long as possible, but Gabby gets caught out. There's the missile as well. They burst him down. It could be really bad, though. No, Gabby, he will survive. Now Makoto getting very low. He pops BKB!
Oh my.
That's his Aegis well. This is the opening TNC needed. They'll get the Remnant off. He's just stuck there right now, but there's the Wukong's command coming out. They just need to run out of that ring. March, he will go down. Buyback is still on cooldown for him, so he can't get back into this, but it looks like they've completed that tier 3 though. Armel still going. He'll get out of there safely. FBZ now still moving forward, trying to find somebody, but perhaps that heart doesn't matter. He's falling quite low. Armel jumps back in. He's going to be so careful not to die though, as they do jump back in straight after Armel, but he'll use up. Still alive throughout all this. He does get out of there just barely. Now FBZ straight onto Gabby. Gabby's falling low. He'll Strength Morph and Ghost Form up, and now he'll steal the Ember Spirit form and does manage to barely get out of there. But Boom ID are still in the lead in all this. And they are still going to try and force in this tier 3 tower.
It's going to be rough. They still can, but with these two cores still alive, you still run a bit of a risk. Oh
no, you can't get caught like that. He gets caught by the Centaur FBZ, he's gone. Gabby back. Gabby falling low, but not low enough. In fact, Armel falling even lower, but he'll get out of there. KB now with the Rolling Thunder, but immediate BKB coming up from Makoto and the straight onto Armel. He does manage to get up just barely. They don't have the Boundless Strike available. KB keeping them away with that Rolling Thunder. Now they may just find the monkey. It's so close, but no, Armel. He goes down to the Boundless. Still they'll find the trade. FBZ, he just wants the racks. He just wants the objectives. Can he find it? He's trying to run away now. It's been disarmed and he will not get it. It's one right click away. But the Heaven's Halberd coming out from, I believe it was KB. In fact, no, it wasn't. Who was it? Who disarmed him?
Probably just
it was
Material Wave?
KB.
Oh yeah, Swashbuckle.
Fair enough. But it barely survives.
Oh yeah, and KP's in the spot of trouble now. He's coughing a bit of damage.
I don't think Dream Missile risks it here.
And with that last fight, TNC clawed her way back to stay in game, not facing off against Megas. We have seen TNC turn around from Megas anyway in game 1, so it wouldn't be all done and over with just because they're on Megas, but still, a lot more hope for TNC, clinging on to this last game of her first series. You take a look at that Dota Plus, Mike. It's 95% for Boom ID.
That's a big... Dota Plus is really never wrong, so... I don't know how TNC are going to win this one. Unfortunately for TMC, Tins is not on a hero that can buy a Divine Rapier this time, John, so it's going to be a bit hard.
What are you talking about? I mean, you could. I wouldn't recommend it, but you could go for the Divine. That Shadow Demon.
Are you telling me he should?
No.
That's disappointing. I would love to see it. Shadow Demon Divine Rapier. Fantastic.
It's a meta beyond my comprehension. It's a decision. What?
Never mind. I have no clue what I just saw on the screen.
Do you have a cursor bug as well?
No, but I had some smiley thing pop up on my screen. Like a...
Oh, no, someone was asking for recommendations. I believe that's March asking for item recommendations by accident. Perhaps a alt-click here and there.
I see. Smoked up is the side of Boom ID. For an opening, they do spot out Armel, and they seem to really like prioritizing this Void Spirit first. Satanic now up on Gabby, so he has a way of forcing his way back up in HP during these team fights, though Armel does manage to get away just barely from Dream Missile's slide of his chains, although the team fight has started Makoto. He found KP. FBZ was not in position to get a hoop stomp off, but he's still looking. Do they fight? They just want those megas. TNC, they've got to defend anyway. There are super creeps coming in through the top lane. Now the team fight split, so FBZ, does he continue moving forward? It looks like he wants to, but he's just a little bit afraid it could be bait though. Here comes the Remnants forward. They won't find TNC. Glim capes up, but they found Armel with the chains. Still Rolling Thunder coming in from KB now, just controlling up the side of Boom ID. Where's the rest of the cavalry? There's the false promise coming in. Now they found Gabby. That's going to be massive. They can take him up. Don't know. Tims, he gets the disruption off. Though does take down Tims and Gabby. He falls too low. He does go down. He doesn't have buyback.
Oh boy.
It's not on cooldown.
No. He has 50 gold.
He spent all his gold on the Satanic and he didn't even get to use it properly because he ghost-scepted.
Oh boy. Armel now as well. He has buyback at least, but
can they hold?
without Gabby? Oh.
We saw March and KP hold by themselves before. This is a bit of a harder situation though, as KB getting caught out. He'll be okay with the Glimmer Cape. The FBZ has caught out March. Still FBZ somehow falling low to Tims. Makoto gonna move his way in once again. Just wants that Enchantress though. March is standing his ground and now will back off. Tagging him Scepter now for the Rubik. It's FBZ, a great stun on Tims, but he does manage to Glimmer Cape away once again. And now per Dreamer's Cell, the Lincolns will be broken. Armel, oh, the barrel is just on the tip. He'll get the Yules off from KP. He needs to save Armel. He does manage it. Again, the Rolling Thunder, not allowing this Rax to go down though. They need to buy 25 seconds for Gabby. They get the chains off on March. He'll hit his way up. Still the Rax is being protected. March managing to get up. Now Makoto, he's falling pretty darn low. He has to be pretty darn careful about this though. No, False Promise will be there. They get the Megas, but still TNC hold on to the base. Gabby will be back up in time, so they will not force the Ancient dive.
It's not much of a base though. Tier 4s are gone.
They certainly are.
Has fallen.
It's an exposed Ancient. This is a very, very difficult situation. Harder than the first game. The question is, can TNC do it?
I'm actually more worried if Boom ID manages to close it out. This is a very similar situation to game 1. They're gonna have to be patient. They're gonna have to be smart. They're gonna have to keep buyback gold.
Gabby apparently is not. He's going straight for a Divine Gun. He's had enough.
I get his point there. Like, it does certainly feel like the damage is lacking.
Radiant's courier was caught
He's
in the
moving.
crossfire.
Armel jumps on 2 straight away, but there's no follow-up. The smoke is completely gone, unless Armel's trying to bait here, but Boom's not falling for it. TNC not willing to give the Roshan up, but Boom hasn't even started the Roshan attempt, so that's not happening. You have the leveler up now on the Morph as well, so I suppose you have a nice way of pushing in those tier 3s if you ever get the opportunity. Build the Divine would be much more appropriate, I feel. Jump on the cliff. KB, is this bait? Gabby, he's moving in. Armel now wants to find a target. In fact, that was high, excuse me. Rolling Thunder, KB, not going to find anyone, but they get the Rubik. Still, they shotgun him down. It's a 4 versus 5 now. There's no buyback on that Rubik. Gabby now going after FBZ. He's still on the cliff right now, John. He can't blink off. He's dead.
God.
He'll buy back. Double chains is there from Dreamer Saw Armel. He's very low, but he could get out. In fact, no. The Abyss will be there in time. Makoto's not playing games this time around. They'll go after another. KB does go down, and both those heroes do not have buyback.
That's at least going to be the Roche going the way of Boom ID. And with an exposed base, they can't afford to actually turn this fight around. Now, the good thing is March makes this really easy to defend. Look at that. Surrounded by the creeps, is slowly losing HP though, but should be able to hold on to that Ancient. They will have to surrender to Roche. Force the buyback out of that scent. But you're gonna have to play against Aegis and Chibis.
They'll smoke up. They want to try and finish this game right here, right now. Now, mind you, there's only 2 heroes in the map that have buyback. Enchantress and, of course, the Ember Spirit. So that Dreamer Cell can Remnant back in straight after dying if he needs to. The Ancient is exposed. Gabby pops the Minotaur Horn straight away. How do you hold this? It just seems so difficult with the Makoto strike. KP starts with the roll stutter. He's going to roll in straight up to Makoto, but there's the BKB immediately coming out, and they go after Tims. They don't want any of these games coming out from Timbo. He force-stuffs himself out of there with the force boost, it seems, and now they'll move into the team fight. There is one drop below. I think that's the Monkey King, in fact, falling very, very low to Gabby. Gabby, can he take him out? Not quite. Dreamer Cell. He'll find the kill on Tims in the back lines. Meanwhile, Gabby, a nice double hoof stop, but he's dealing no damage here. Gabby, he may fall too low. He doesn't have Satanic to pop any longer. He's gone. Boom ID will not throw game number 3, as TNC will be dropped to the lower bracket of the minor qualifiers, and Boom ID, I want to say against all odds, do move forward in the upper